All right, welcome back. Thanks for checking this video out. I am Rich Philippone. This is Six String Fun. Me here in Jersey, you wherever it is that you are. Let me know. It's always good to know where everyone's kind of checking in from, so I appreciate that. Real quick kind of lesson tip today, and it's revolving around the major pentatonic scale. And I've got some plans to go into major, minor, and really kind of expand on that, because that was always something I had a problem with as far as understanding the concept of the scale, where the roots were, why was it major, why was it minor, they look so similar. And then when I really kind of opened my eyes, when I realized, okay, there's not just one major pentatonic scale or one minor pentatonic scale. You know, the minor has 5 positions, as does the major. And they're so similar, they overlap, the shapes are the same, the patterns are the same. It just all kind of depends on that root note and where it's supposed to be, okay? So what we'll do today is, I want to kind of just touch upon the major scale. I don't, minor scale probably is used a little bit more, and if you're used to the minor scale, all right, that's that box everybody knows, right? So if I'm just kind of looking at the string itself and the frets, it's 3 6 3 5 3 5 3 5 3 6 3 6, and then you kind of come up the other way. Okay, and that's in the key of G minor, right? I guess basically, right? But I want to be in the key of G, which is basically this. It's 5 notes. All right. Those 5 notes are arranged a bit differently than the minor, because you've got that major third in there, which is going to dictate whether it's a major or minor scale or chord or whatever it might be. So the scale that you probably know as far as the major scale goes for the pentatonic, with the octave, right? So it's, if I'm doing if I'm doing notes, let's just say it's notes in this position, right? It's G, it's A, B, and I'm going to the D, and then here I've got the E, and then back to the G, right, which is my octave. Okay, or if you're doing intervals, which is probably the better way to learn these things, because then you'll understand it across the entire fretboard, just not in a certain key. So my root, which is my 1, right? My 2, my 3, my 5, my 6, and I'm back to the octave. So those are the 5 notes that make up a pentatonic scale for the major side of things. So it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, back to the root, 1. Okay? And we're probably used to doing this up and down the fretboard. Okay? Again, 5 notes, but you've covered 2 octaves and started a third, basically. There's 1. There's 2. You started the third. Now what do you do? Well, you can come back up, and which is fine, if that's what you know, that's great. It kind of keeps you into that one position. But what about using more of the fretboard, right? So there's a tip, a trick, using those same 5 notes for the major pentatonic scale that'll get you from here to this area very fluently. So why don't we take a look at that? I'll get a closer look at the hands here. You can see what the difference or similarities might be, and see if that helps you out in terms of your playing ability. All right, so let's just take a closer look at that major pentatonic scale we just talked about. Okay, now if you don't know this scale, you probably want to set some time aside to learn it, because this lesson is more about not only the scale itself, but a different pattern to use that scale in. So you've got to have an understanding of it first. So you could always pause this, come back, learn that, whatever you need to do. But again, that scale typically would be played, major pentatonic scale. So what I was doing there was, as far as the intervals go, it's your root, your 2, your 3, your 5, your 6, you're back to the octave right there, okay? since we're in the key of G, to make things a little bit easier, the notes would be G, A, B, D, E, back to the octave, the root, okay? And if you wanted to continue in that pattern, so we played 2 octaves there, and I'm stopping there because I'll go from G to my second, and some of you might say I ran out of fretboard because there's only 6 strings. Well, why don't we learn how to kind of come down this way a little bit here with a different type of pattern, the same notes, but you're coming down with a different pattern and you're coming back up, and it gives you the opportunity to learn just different areas of the fretboard, maybe come up with some different licks, some different riffs. So what that pattern is, again, it's the same intervals, it's the same notes, it's just a different way of doing it, okay? So again, if I'm starting here with my root, okay, watch how this goes. I hit those same 5 notes. So what did I do there? So again, it's the same thing. So if I'm looking at my intervals, okay, my 1, my 2, my 3, okay? And then I shifted down a string to my 5, my 6, right? And I'm back at the octave right there. Now for me, for this pattern and this run, I like using, for whatever reason, I tend to use my index and my pinky. That's just what works for me. Use your index and your ring. But for whatever reason, the pinky, I tend to get the pinky involved just to kind of make sure it's got that same strength compared to the other fingers, basically. So what am I doing there? So again, it's the G, the A, the B, the D, and the E. Same thing we did here. Okay? So, but how do you get from here to here and know that you're hitting the right strings? There's a pattern, okay? And you'll find that with the guitar, with scales, with chords, there are patterns that help you unlock the fretboard, and you don't even realize it sometimes. This pattern, I kind of came up with this little thing in my head that made me kind of remember the pattern. So mine was pick, pick, slide, pick, pick. All right? You just covered the 5 notes right there. 1, 2, slide, 1, 2. Okay? So on that root, the first string you're using the root on, you're going to have 3 notes. 1, 2, 3. And then you're just shifting down. Okay? And then all you're doing is on the next string, the same pattern. Okay, so the same pattern done twice. There's 1. There's 2, okay? Now, the thing, if you're familiar with the guitar and how it gets a little bit funky with the strings, we have to shift over now to the B string. And the reason you shift over is because if you know how the strings are in tune, from the E, the A is a 4th away from the E, the D is a 4th away from the A, the G is a 4th away from the D, but then when you get to the B, it becomes a 3rd, okay, with that shift basically. So if we're here, we can't just go down 1 off, right? We got to shift up a fret as well. All right? And all we're going to do there is the same pattern one more time. All right, now, it's an incomplete scale as well, as I mentioned before, but what you're doing there is you're landing on the relative minor of G. So if you know your theory a little bit, that might make some sense. So the whole pattern again. And if you want, you finish it up on the G right there, the G on the high E string right there. Okay. I just kind of threw in that F sharp just for no apparent reason. But do you see that pattern though? And then if you want to run it back up, you can do that too. Okay? So if you want to go ascending, and you can descend it right away, or if you want to hit that G and then come back. All right, so basically we took this shape with the octave there, okay, and we did. So now you've opened yourself up to maybe doing some different patterns, different riffs, just different ways to kind of get the fingers going and understanding the fretboard a little bit better. And if I really want to, kind of, throw a curveball your way, we did this for the major, right? Right? There's one scale in the major pentatonic, a G. Another shape, still a G. And then if you want, you can even go this way. Again, there's different ways, and we're going to get into that type of shape and pattern, I think, in some later lessons, because you're going to start to see how things are connected, and you can start expanding things and kind of getting out of just the regular, or even, again, I'm changing subjects on here, but if you go minor, as an example, you might be stuck in a rut, and I think with some of the things I can show you, you will get an idea for how certain things are done here, and opening your mind up a little bit here. So again, it's all based on intervals. Okay, you've got your 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. The same notes in this particular key. I have a video that you can check out as well. Should be right there right about now, hanging right over my face, for intervals. So use that as a guide. Again, I kind of go into more of the details on the intervals a little bit more. There might be more of that coming down the road too. But again, just another tip or trick just to kind of get you out of that one shape. Excuse me. So check it out. Again, you can rewind this as much as you like. Let me know what your questions or comments are in the comment section. Again, this was something that took me a very long time to really start to unravel, as far as the pentatonic scales and the roots and the intervals and why certain things work together. And then when it expanded into all these different positions, the same notes, but you're just playing them in different orders, which gives them a different position. So we'll get into that. So again, questions, concerns, let me know. Hopefully this video helped you out here, and we'll see you soon.